Hello my darlings, welcome back to the channel. I've just done this look. I've done a full tutorial on it, which you can watch the video somewhere in the cards up here, and the link is going to be in the description, so don't worry, you haven't missed a thing. In this video I'm going to go over which brushes I use and for what part of this makeup look, because I get a fair few many questions. Why do I have so many brushes? What could I possibly use all the brushes for? And I want to do this thing with my makeup and I don't know which brush to use. So hopefully when you view this video, it will give you some insight into what I use my brushes for, how you could potentially use your brushes, and what could potentially make your makeup a bit more like this. Because I think this is quite a nice place to be, you know. Make sure to give this video a little thumbs up down below, hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be posting so much more content and you do not want to miss it. And if you have any more questions that I didn't cover in the video, please leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Let's get on with the video. Okay, so firstly, when I'm doing my base for this face, I use two main brushes. Okay, these are densely packed stippling brushes that I use to push the foundation around the face, and then I pat it on as well, as you can see from the tutorial. The ones that I use are from Real Techniques, and I use the Sculpting brush and I use the Expert Face brush. I chop and change between the two because really there's not much difference. As you can see, there's just, let's put it to a side. As you can see, there's not much difference. This one is more angled than this one, but like they practically do the same thing. So I use it to really pack on the product and buff it in and make sure that everything is just seamless between the colors. Next, when I'm setting my face, I use a huge brush. Look how big this is. This can cover an eye. So this brush is the 990 by Real Techniques, and it's just a large kind of fluffy powder brush that I use. I just pop it into my setting powder and then and the lovely thing about this brush is because it's so soft, it kind of flicks over the face, so it doesn't make much contact, so then it just douses you in the powder. You don't really have to do much. It's a really, really lovely brush. When I'm doing my eyes, I use a good set of brushes, really. Let's grab them all first. So these four are the brushes that I used for this eye look here. I used a NYX 16 lovely little blending brush for the eyes. I always make sure that I keep these bits of plastic and I put them straight back on because I like my brushes to maintain their shape. I used that one to do the lovely like yellow, orange and the pink when I'm blending it all together, making it look seamless. Next, I used this brush by Real Techniques. This is a smudging brush and I used this to initially pack on the orange product on the eye, and then I used it to go under the lower lash line and really pack the product in there. Because if you're just putting all this product up here, you don't want it to be really top heavy. You want to make sure that you're offsetting it by a little color down here, which is always lovely. And this brush is like a tiny, I want to say a tiny version of this one because it's so densely packed, but you can really get in there. Another really good use for this is if you're doing a little bit of concealer somewhere, you can literally just buff it in. It's a lovely, lovely brush. Next, I use my Bdellium Tools 937. This is predominantly a concealer brush, but I use it to put on the MAC Painterly paint pot on the top, and then if I've got under eye concealer, I'll do that. It's just a really close and personal brush that gets right in there, and because it's a synthetic brush, you can use whatever you want on it. Really, really good brush, I would recommend. For my eye, for packing on this silver, this lovely silver here, I use a MAC 239S, and I just grab the product. You can also use these for smudging out some of the eyeliner, and then if you're going to put it in the brow, you can pop the product on the brush, tap it into the brow, and it will really lay down the product for you. So make sure you get brushes that really do the work for you. You don't want to be sitting there going for 20 odd minutes, because that is just going to take valuable time out of your day where you could be enjoying it with lots of other people, or you could be doing what you love most and watching these videos and getting into all this high fashion drag with me. Next, I'm going to go into the face brushes that I use. So when we use these two for laying down the foundation, we have then gone over it with this brush with the setting powder, and now we're going to go in and work on that contour and this contour and the blush that's all up on the cheeks. So I use this little Real Techniques contour fan brush to really chisel out what I've done with the cream contouring, but in a powder form. I really just want to get right in under that cheekbone and make it really pop. That's what I want. And this, because it's so densely packed, but it's quite rigid as well, it means that the product is quite concentrated, and that's really what I want to go for. A nice chiseled, but also kind of breezy look, you know. So then I'm using this brush. This is the Real Techniques contour brush. It says contour, but we're going to use it for highlights. So I pop this into my face powder and I just pop it straight under the eye. Because of its domed shape, it can get right under the eyes and into by the nose, and then just round and up. It's quite stunning. And then when you're doing this bit here on the cheek, you really just want to fluff it around. You don't want to make anything so exaggerated. So I just like a little, and on the chin, in the center of the forehead, because you want stuff quite circular, it helps to have a circular brush. I know that sounds stupid, but it really works for me. So I just tap it round, 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 boom, done, stunning. Next, I use the Real Techniques contour brush again, but a different color. And I use it for the blush because of the dome shape. This is quite different actually. So this contour brush is quite spread out, and then this one's quite concentrated because where I've stored it. So then I just like to pop the cheek color on there and then just blend it out, really marrying the contour with the highlight that I've just put in. Next, when I'm doing this highlight here, this highlight here, and this highlight here, and here, and everywhere, because we all like to be dripping in highlight nowadays. And I'm not mad at it. It really does give the look an extra pop. I use my Bdellium Tools 785 brush. It's normally a blending brush for the eyeshadow over here. It's just a large fluffy brush. And then if you want to give it an extra oomph, just add in a little bit of setting spray, spritz it, give it a little 1-2, dip it in the product, and straight in onto the cheek. Next, I'm going to go in with the brow brush. The brow brush that I have is this beautiful tapered brush by Bdellium Tools. It's the 762. I'm guessing this is an angled liner brush, but I use it to do my brows because it's so precise, and I can just pull the product off, nip the end of that brush right in, and then go straight in. If I wanted to add more to this brow, which I don't, I would just grab a darker color, and then etch in some little hairs to give the brow a little bit more dimension. But knowing me, if I attempted something like that, it would just look shocking, and I'm not about it. So the other ones in my kit, if I wanted a more concentrated eye look, I would use a Bdellium 781, which is a smaller version of the one that we use for highlight. So it's a smaller blending brush. I have some other 785s that I use from Bdellium. I've just got one that I got from a makeup class that I did in London. It's just this lovely flat packing brush that I can use to put stuff on the lid. I have got flat liner brushes from Real Techniques that I can use if I really want to, but most of the time I use a pen anyway, so there's no point. I've got more base shadow blending brushes. This is a wonderful brush. This is the Bdellium Tools 758. This is a bigger version of the Smudge brush by Real Techniques. And if I really want to do like a dark exaggerated look, which you'll probably see later on, I'll probably have linked it in the cards or in the description somewhere in the future. I really would just want to push it in, and it will give a bigger, more exaggerated smoke out than the Smudge brush does by Real Techniques. I also have a Bdellium Tools 780, which is a pencil brush, which I can use to dip into some highlight. And if I really want to, I can just pop in a little bit of highlight in the inner corner there. And I can highlight the nose with a pencil brush as well, just giving you that extra level of control. I've also got Bdellium 778, which is a lovely, fluffy packer brush for the lid. Again, I would use this more if I was doing a big old exaggerated smoky eye. Most of the time I'm using the MAC brush because it's so small and it's easier to work with, whereas this is literally just going to be like product, and then you can just blur it out. I've got a Real Techniques winged liner brush. Again, I'm not going to use these unless I'm using it for a brow, because I use a pen so frequently, there's just no point. This is a liquid highlight brush, it says, but to me, it's just a pencil brush on steroids, to be honest. What I would use it for is for laying down concealer under the eyes, or if I wanted to highlight the brow, because it's got such a nice little tapered edge, I would go straight under the brow with a little bit of highlight, and then that would keep going. But I don't know, I don't use liquid highlighters, so I don't really have a use for that brush. Another brush that I use a lot is this Real Techniques powder brush. It is stunning. It's so big, so fluffy, and I love to just pop it into my bronzer if I'm doing quite a bronze look. Today I did a more contoured look than a bronze look, so I didn't really use it. But I'll pop it into the bronzer, I'll give it a little swish around the face, and it really just buffs everything out and makes it look really blown out and airbrushed, which I love. So that's all the brushes that I use when I'm creating a face like this, and many more. These are just the brushes that I keep on hand because I just use them so much. And these brushes, it's taken a while to get a kit that I really feel comfortable using. Like, I would experiment with so many different brushes and then use it for this and use it for that, and then half of the time I'd be using it for the wrong thing. But that's the fun part. Brushes are universal. I may use this to bronze up my face. You may use it to blend out, I don't know, a blush. You might apply blush with that. You might use this to contour your face, when I use it as a all-over powder brush. There's nothing you can't do with these brushes, and these are just the ones that I use most of the time. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a good old thumbs up down below. It will show me that you're enjoying the content. Subscribe for more, because there's going to be a lot more, believe me. And make sure that you comment any questions that you have down below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned.